Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of There Will Be Ink. I am your host, the Purple Smurf. We're going to be joined by a great creator today, Joe Catapano, who's going to be talking about his comic, Star Circuit, which has already crossed 10K, I believe, which is fantastic. And I'll be drawing. I hope you're drawing along too. And we'll see what we can do. Play the opening credits. A lot of time I like to rap over these credits, tell you what's on my mind. And today, I'm feeling really good. Our book, Tales of Zero, we funded this week. Huge for me. Huge for all of you out there. And I feel like a really good thing is happening. A really good wind is blowing. A lot of first-time creators are coming on strong and supporting each other. It's like I have a little phrase I like to say, which is, support creators, ignore the haters. A lot of people spend a lot of time tearing each other down, trashing and bashing. They don't make any books. They don't produce any IPs. They don't pay artists, cover artists, colorists, letterers. But the creators are the ones out there making the books, telling the stories, creating IPs, paying the letterists, paying the colorists, paying variant cover artists. So, you don't have to like every creator. You don't even have to like everybody online. It's a free country. So if you don't like someone's work, you don't have to support them, but you don't have to trash them either. Put all your positive energy behind the people you do like, and let's grow this thing. I like to think that what we're looking at today is the marketplace. The marketplace is the synthesis of Twitter, YouTube, and Indiegogo. It's a comic convention that's 24/7. You can meet the creator, you can ask them questions, you can get inside their head in a way that you couldn't in a standard comic book convention. And you can do that every day, all day. So you're always selling, you're always representing your brand. So be positive, Show us why your story is worth getting excited about. And that's the reason I have this show. This show is about getting creators on, drawing, having fun, and getting excited about their projects. We have an open policy here. If you're building your dream, you're on our team. It's real simple. I like to rhyme. This is why I call this a rap. It's not a hip-hop rap. It's a rap in the 70s sense when you just get something off your chest, like the Iceman used to do. So anyway, our topic this week is going to be the need for speed. We're going to talk about heroes with the need for speed with Joe Catapano. He's got a racing-themed comic, I would say. It looks like the beginning of a saga. I'm super excited about that. And who knows, we may have some other guests too. A couple other artists may drop on. You never know. Let me see, anything else I want to say as I finish up my opening credits? Oh yeah, so I'm really proud of my opening credits. This is from an old Japanese cartoon, Gordion. You see he beats them with his robot cougar, and then he throws them some Band-Aids. And he's like, thanks guys. And then you know what they say when he drives away with his robot cougar? They say thank you. You see what I mean? This is how it's got to be, Everybody's your competition, but everybody's your motivator too. If there's somebody doing better than you, learn from them. Figure out what you can learn from them. So everybody doing better than you is just someone who you can learn from and aspire to. So not everybody's your favorite person, not everybody's your best friend, but everybody could be an aspirational figure or an inspirational figure for you to motivate your own dream. Aren't I a pretty good rap artist, Joe?
Yeah, man. It's like a mix between spoken word and rap. It's like a
yeah.
And you got a nice rhythm, man. I think it's just you got that Jordan Peterson rhythm.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Something about it.
I don't think I've ever heard his voice before, but I think if there were a lot of 70s stuff like that. It was called rap where they just talk. Like Isaac Hayes would have them, the Iceman would have them, and where they just talk, and say what's on their mind. And so
for sure, I think a more upbeat and high-strung Jordan Peterson doesn't match, but like when he's like really chill and like nothing's bothering him, I think that's what I think cool. Like what's there's a couple DJs that mix him into everything, all the songs and stuff. Huh?
Oh, no, I didn't know that. So I don't know much about Jordan Peterson. I see his name, but I don't know a lot about his philosophy or anything.
Dude, it's I wouldn't say it's a controversial one, except for
Mhm.
how the lefty
Well, people
kind of,
make it that way. Yeah, people make
yeah,
it controversial,
right.
when really it's probably
Normally,
just a guide to thinking about life, right? Yeah.
right. It's just 15 years ago, this would be just another psychologist talking about stuff. But these days it's different. So,
Yeah, everything has to be controversial.
yeah.
Well, cool. That's my first time ever been compared to him. But yeah, I do like funky music from the '70s. I do like a lot of music from the '80s. I like all music from all eras.
Nice.
So, all right, we're here to talk about your project. So, people
Right.
can watch these streams later, and it can be just like a little interview, like between two
Perfect.
ferns or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like
So,
that.
that way it's like, you can tell, all right, where'd you get your start? What your first drawing influence is? What music motivates you? Where did the inception of this story? Stuff like that. And then, also we're going to draw something together. So,
Nice.
do you want to tell me what you're thinking about drawing for your Need to Speed?
Well, Need for Speed. So I thought about who. I mean, there's so many, like all the big influences for Star Circuit is very Needs for Speed. But since
Uh-huh.
I've been drawing a lot of those as one would, since you're a fan of them, so I'm trying to stay away from Akira and things like I already drew Captain Falcon,
Uh-huh.
but I would have drawn him if I had just recently. But I think it's either going to be Chitara,
Uh-huh.
because I'm a big fan of Thundercats,
Oh,
and I don't
nice,
think,
nice.
and I like the version. Have you seen the rebooted one from like
Yes, yeah,
2011 or something?
yeah. Like 6 or 7 years ago, they
Yeah,
looked good. They
I
looked
like
good.
her, that mythos where her little sect of monks were like Jedis, like they're super speedy Jedis. So I dig that. For some reason, that just adds so much more to just her being the foxy, speed
Yeah,
driven
literally.
character. Um,
Literally the clothing optional, girl
yeah,
for the 10-year-old show. Girl
right.
showing the 10-year-old the
But
clothing
it
optional. Well, she's a
sells, man,
cheetah.
because as
She's
you're
a cheetah.
that young, you remember it.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
you know,
absolutely. There were so many great character designs in those Saturday morning cartoons. Like, I mean, really talented people worked on them. Like Jack Kirby designed some of like Thundar, and Alex Toth designed a lot of the Hanna-Barberas. So it's like
yeah.
really, really good people designed some of those fundamental cartoony characters that influenced us all so much. So,
Hmm.
all right, cool. I have two things. I want to do
Cool.
Knight Rider as an anime, where Kit is actually a transforming, mech, almost like an Appleseed or something. So
Cool.
then you like age down Michael Knight and make him like 16. So you have a kind of like Pokemon, like the young guy, and he's got
Hmm.
the transforming car.
Yeah.
But like the real Knight Rider, like the Kit is the common sense and gets him out of trouble, and he's the sort of impulsive. So I kind of see like a kid's like Bakugan Pokemon type of version of
Okay.
Knight Rider. And then I'm
That's
gonna try
interesting,
to
man. I like that.
yeah, and then I'm gonna try to do like something from Bubblegum Crisis, just
Cool.
for the
Right.
bike aspect, to pay homage to the bike theme,
Hmm. I
But
There's one that doesn't necessarily associate with speed, but it kind of does in some way. Cyborg 009. Do you?
that's right.
So yeah, you would consider that speed, even though he's like stopping time and not really moving
hmm
fast. You
hmm
know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or slowing down time. But to me, if you're from the outside, it looks like he's going fast. So that was my other kick, and I loved that stuff. One of my favorites. So that may be another one. I just have to like in the moment here decide.
yeah. Well, the fun part about this show is I call this like the digital campfire. We're sitting around drawing just because it's like whittling or something. It's just an activity that we do to pass the time, but no one needs to think like,
Hey, what's going on?
Oh
is this the
yeah.
greatest drawing ever? Who we got here? Oh,
Don't
hello.
don't don't talk over me when you invite me in here.
That's Mr. Dillard. Mr. Dillard, he's turning up the heat. The first thing Mr. Dillard is going to do is flash some gold.
Rick, I
Then,
gotta leave this stream. I'm on another stream. Goodbye.
oh, okay. Well, hey, no, don't leave. You bring the heat. You told me that you have to take over any stream you're on. That was your advice. Is he gone? He's
He
a
might
wild
be
man.
gone.
I love Mr. Dillard. He's the best.
Yeah, I wish there was an icon for when he doesn't show his face whenever he's smoking a cigarette.
Yeah,
We
he has like
call
a
it like a smoking
beret
icon.
and glasses. I mean, he looks like the Che Guevara of Southern California.
Yeah,
And we're doing a yeah. You go.
I feel like he's the like he's like the most He's got like an image, you know what I mean? Like his
Oh, yeah.
image is so
Absolutely.
old school rock star style
Yeah.
artist.
Yeah. 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 And
which is
I
cool.
love his voice too. We're doing an audio version of Tales of Zero. And I hit him
cool.
up right away. I was like, you need to be on my audio version of Tales of Zero because we have a character, Osillo. He's sort of like the Chewbacca to Zero's Han Solo. So, you know,
Right.
Han Solo is like, Zero is kind of like the Han Solo without the heart of gold. So he's a scoundrel, he's a pirate, he's a smuggler, but he's also just kind of a jerk. And like, so in the end, you're always like, oh, Zero, you know, he doesn't come through. And that's like the twist in every story. But then Osillo is his buddy who's just tall, big, and speaks in single syllables, just goes like, right, let's go, move it, you know, just speaks in these like very short sentences. And so Dillard did an amazing job with that voice because it's hard to do that voice. It's not that he's unintelligent, he's very economical with words, and
Right.
every time when something goes down with Zero, Osillo's the one who gets him out of the jam, you know. Zero's the talker, but in the end Osillo's the one who's got the street smarts, you know, so they kind of need each other. And Dillard, you just did a great job on that.
Oh, I can't wait.
Thank you very much.
And now I have to like, is there a special tier for that, or is that going to be?
No, I'm just going to release it because you know we got funded this week, which is fantastic. But you know we just got to keep introducing new interest week after week after week for 60 days. So you know, 2 weeks from now, I'll be like, drop the first 10 pages of the audio comic, then drop the next 10 pages. You know, and just kind of keep always something new for the people. You know.
Yeah, I gotta try to figure out a way to do like some sort of a web comic or something that I can do and just upload small short things like 4-panel gags or something. You know what I mean?
Isn't Tapas free? You could use that.
Keep it going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
because this long span of time between releasing things it's killing me.
Yeah.
It's killing the interaction.
Dillard, are you going to draw with us? We're drawing the need for speed. Do you have an idea?
Oh no, Dillard.
Yeah, Dillard. You know what you're going to draw?
What is the theme? Do we have a
theme? The need for speed.
Need for speed.
It could be anything. Could be Top Gun. Could be Knight Rider. Could be
a dope fiend.
It could be a dope fiend. Could be Mr. Lemmy from Motorhead.
Need for speed.
Yeah. So just take it anywhere you want it.
Could be Ritalin Kid. The Kid on Ritalin.
Kid on Ritalin. That could be the new hero. That could be the new Cyborg 009.
Yeah. I gotta think about it for a second.
All right, no worries. All right, so yeah, let's get cracking. I'm gonna start sketching. I use a light board, so what I do is I pencil everything and then I just ink it on the stream. So I have a couple sketches I do in advance because I also notice that when I get into it, I stop talking to the guests and I stop reading the chat because I just get so into the drawing.
Right.
So I had to teach myself have a sketch preset and just ink it on the stream. That way you won't get.
Okay, well, I don't have a way to actually show me drawing something physically right now. I'd have to set up the table over here to my left, or my right. Sorry.
Just hold it up now and then.
What I could do is I could just draw digitally and then just share my screen.
Totally. Okay. Yeah, do it. Just share your screen, draw digitally. All right. Yeah, you know, Cyborg 009 there, he really had the hair. You know, you can give Astro Boy credit, but really the quintessential anime hair, it had to start right there.
It probably did.
You know?
Because that guy, I don't know why I'm not remembering the dude's name, but his whole hair, he was the hair guy. He was the hair Japanese dude. Like everybody had some wacky hair.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. I love all those character designs from the 70s. I loved Grandizer. You know, I grew up watching Grandizer. And I'm trying to do a little bit of that in another project I'm developing where in Grandizer you had, you know, the main character, Koji, he looks like, you know, the pilot of Mazinger Z, exactly. Johnny or Orion Quest, he looks like the hero. The scientist looks like a scientist. But Panhandle Morgan looks like a potato, you know? Like, you have those character designs where they suddenly are completely comical and they don't look anything like a normal human being, the comic relief characters. I love that. I love that you have, like, realistic and then these stylized cartoons, and they all live in the same universe. I love that. Yeah,
they just like they don't not that they don't care, but man, dude, it's so like it's whatever I want, you know. That's how that.
I think it's it's manga logic, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's manga logic, and so it makes sense in manga. And if you're just seeing it as a kid, it makes sense. Then later, as an adult, you're like, wow, I never noticed. There's so many different aesthetics competing in the exact same universe, and it's so fun. So I have a project I'm working on where I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to have certain characters be really stylized and certain characters not, and have them exist as if it's totally fine, you know?
So I'm trying to arrange my camera here. That way I could actually show. Let me see.
I'm going to power
there
up
we
my...
go.
Power
Actually,
up
looks not too bad.
Yeah, let me get it so that we can all say, oh, yeah, that's pretty good. And let's see, is this Dillard's drawing table? All right, let's see if we can make it so we see everything. Nope. I'm your host. I don't know what I'm doing. Almost.
You know what? If I'm gonna do this.
Oh, here we go.
It's got to be on a double page spread. Let me get a new file.
It's got to be a double page spread. All right, cool. So while we're done, we're gonna pick Joe's brain about the inception of Star Circuit, the inception of his art style, and all that sort of good stuff. And of course,
this guy's Star Circuit guy?
Yes.
Oh shit, that's a cool looking project.
Isn't that a really cool project? Isn't that really cool? I know.
Dude,
it's
you know how many times they get that now? It's actually flattering. Just to be like, you know, wait, I get this, like, it's almost infamous without it being. It's weird because even EVS did that. He shouted me out once, and he didn't tag me, so it's just the Star Circuit guy. You know what I mean?
But that's good though, you know. That's like there's Star Wars and there's George Lucas, right? It doesn't matter who George Lucas is in the end, you know. It's like it's really your creation that lives on even more than you. So that's awesome to be known as the Star Circuit
actually guy. That's why it's cool. It's almost like it's like my alternate ego, you know, just without even naming it. You know, you're just the dude that made this thing. Yeah,
exactly. So we can also shout out the Buckler in here, some updates, and then you guys can feel free to just, you know, shower me with compliments that Tales of Zero got funded this week. I know. I'm just a little fish. I'm just a new kid just coming up. A lot of people thought I couldn't tear it up. But, you know, that was what, Rob Bass, I think. That was DJ Easy Rock and Rob Bass. I just quoted that. Anyway, I'm just a new kid just coming up. But anyway, yeah, I mean, there was something I saw today on the Twitterverse. It was about, you know, advice for creators. And one of them was like, set realistic goals. You know, if you deliver your first book and you make between 1 and 2K and you fulfill it, you did good if no one's ever heard of you. And I'm like, you're singing my song. No one's ever heard of me, right?
Right.
So if I hit at that level and I succeed, I'll feel great about it. But I think your book just has a certain appeal that's pretty immediate. And obviously your art chops play into that. So you just cleared 10K, right?
Yeah, we just hit 10. So for a first book, it's beyond what I expected. If you talk, it's funny, you probably go back to the streams before I launched and just hear me say like, oh, I'll be happy with 3K or whatever it is, you know, and that was my expectations, you know?
Yep. Well, I think when Ethan launched Cyberfrog, he put it at 8,000 and he literally didn't know. You know, he literally didn't know how it was going to go. So, yeah, I mean, starting with a small goal is nothing wrong with that. And then, of course, Dillard, he's my hero. He started the Buckler with a goal of 500.
Dude, killer. Yeah.
Isn't that great?
It's amazing. I mean, Dillard, do you do everything? Are you a one-man team? One-man
that
army?
is correct, yes. I do it all myself. It's awful, but it's also very rewarding.
Yeah, well,
no, it's great because you have complete control over exactly how people see your stuff.
Exactly. Yeah,
I'm one of the only guys that I'm not. There's plenty of us, but you know, I'm one of them. So I definitely respect it to pull it off. It's just one that I didn't realize the struggle after you start funding is like also campaigning is one of those roles you got to play. You know.
Oh yeah. Always be closing.
Yeah.
But
that's the thing. Like I had I'm a nobody, and you know, I've been hanging around for a while, but I haven't gotten any traction anywhere with anything. But I was like, you know what? It's been too long. I need to do a book already. So just went for it.
I think yours occupied a niche that no one had taken up yet. You know, which is the kind of like backstory of a down on their luck supervillain seeking redemption. Like, whoa, no one's done that. You know, like immediately that's like, okay, cool. No one's done that, and it looked good. And I think the same thing with Star Circuit. It's like we haven't had a racing theme. You know, we haven't had where the theme is racing, and that's like a cool thing. It's got broad appeal.
Yeah, when people bring up things like, you will things be successful the way you're thinking about it, or will it fail? Or, the concept does matter somewhat, just as much as the quality of writing and art. You can do it. Yeah, you can reinvent the tried and true, but at the same time, if you come up with, like, if you're the only racing book, like, I'm very close to that. Because I know, like, well, there's a couple on out there, but nothing in CG, I don't think. But
nothing in this little Twitterverse of ours, this little indie scene of ours. I mean, it's exactly. So you've got that.
Same thing with Buckler. There's no super, there's no stories based on villains out there, really.
And sort of like lovable villains, and villains. Right. All right, you guys are gonna have to hold down the fort for a minute. I'll be right back. Okay.
Cool.
Keep the conversation rolling.
I'll be here. I'm not going nowhere. All right, so I'm getting a little bit of I'm getting a little bit of anxiety here because I'm supposed to draw something of somebody going fast, and I'm here with somebody that does a book about things going fast, and I'm like, I'm gonna do it, and then he's gonna think it's shit.
Yeah, no worries. I feel like it is nothing to do, but you flatter me. However, I think your art speaks for itself. I think you got what it takes. I'm gonna do Chitara from Thundercats because she's a babe. Got to go with that.
Yeah, she's a babe.
Yeah, I also just didn't. I not that she's the only option. I'm just thinking all the other ones, like I said before, I've done. I would do Akira because that's obviously a good one, or Tron or something. But
yeah, Tron, of course.
That's all stuff that I've done.
It's fun to. I like what I try to do on my show is I try to make my prompts that really you could take it anywhere. You could even mess with your own expectations of what it is,
Right.
So yeah, awesome. All right, so I was thinking about with what I'm doing with Tales of Zero, I'm really trying to capture a kind of 1930s pulp, and I'm trying to capture a genre which could be called adventure. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if anybody's doing this genre called adventure, and it's like different than superhero because superhero you have like good versus evil, but in adventure you just have character versus circumstance, and that's it. Right. So there's no evil. It's just that here's your guy and with all of his personality quirks and foibles, then put him in a circumstance, and then let the audience root for him and see if he can get out of the jam.
Are you putting him on the road? Is that
within that? Yeah, within that, you can always introduce villains and heroes, but they're always temporary. They only serve the purpose of that adventure. And that's the point of Tales of Zero, is that he's a storyteller, so he's telling you about all his greatest hits. This one time when we tried to steal this thing from this thing, and then he tells you the story, right? And then another fun thing about Zero is that he's completely unreliable, that you don't know whether his version of the story is factual at all. And the more you get used to his storytelling style, the more fun it is trying to figure out, okay, where did he start off and where did he deviate into what he wants you to think happened? Right. And I try to leave a lot of clues there so that when you read it and then reread it, you're like, okay, here's where he kind of started to fudge what happened and tell it the way he wanted you to believe it happened, but you leave enough clues that the reader can sort of figure it out. So yeah, the genre I think I'm trying to revitalize is just adventure, and there was a lot of that in pulp in the 30s, which was just like jungle stories, adventure stories, blah blah blah. These monthly pulps that would come out, and then the comics of the 30s and 40s were just the same exact thing. So that's the genre I'm trying to nail down with Tales of Zero, and I hope people sort of pick up on that. Adventure is a genre,
I dig that idea because you're right. There's not much out there, and I think that's something that you can probably. That's your thing, it could be your thing.
Yeah. At least for this IP, And all right, so nice. Do you know what you're drawing yet, Dillard?
I do, yeah.
All right,
I've been rattling around this idea for my next, not my next book, but my next, I guess you would call it an IP, right?
Yeah.
And the idea is very simple, but you got to figure out a way to make it cool.
All right.
Okay, that's not true. It's cool.
No, you come to the right place. I mean, we've got it. We've got cool figured out.
It's cool all on its own, but I need to find a way to make the story. That's my hardest part, right? I'm not by trade a writer. As a matter of fact, my grammar is even very poor. But I had that Buckler story idea for a long, long time, which is why that wasn't really an issue this time around. Now I got to actually come up with a story. on my own.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
Right.
So that's the hard part. The premises are easy. I can come up with ideas all day long, but the premise for this one is basically think about like the video game Twisted Metal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I probably don't know it. I'm not aware.
It's a video game where you're in vehicles like cars, and the cars are all outfitted with machine guns, kind of like Death Race.
Nice. Yeah,
and, the goal is to just survive long enough, and if you win, you get a wish.
Oh wow.
And then the other idea is Dino Riders.
Oh yeah.
The old cartoon Dino Riders.
Yeah, of course.
Except, so this is going to be essentially two factions of beautiful, naked, big titty women, and riding dinosaurs with lasers and guns, and they're fighting this other group of women, beautiful women who are naked and big tittied, in cars that are like Twisted Metal style cars.
I'm digging it so far. You've said all the keywords.
Yeah, you're getting it.
So now I got to come up with a story.
Well, I think there was a long time ago in the ancient days, like when I was a kid, there was something called Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. Do you remember that?
No.
So you might look into that IP, see if they've covered anything similar to what you want to do, or something, or if what you want to do is totally different. But they did have cars and dinosaurs coexisting somehow in that IP. And I do remember Mike Murphy, with Chibi Comics. I remember he has Samurai and Dinosaurs, and there was a car on one of his pieces. I don't know if there are cars in his story, but at least one of the fan art pieces that I colored had a car in it.
Really?
But, again, it's all in the telling of the tale, Does it happen in the past? Does it happen in the future? Does it happen through genetic engineering? Is it a virtual reality dinosaurs? I mean, you can make it what you want it to be, and there's room in this world for a lot of stories about dinosaurs with cars. And also, the basic sort of Death Race 2000 thing, that's always fun. That's always a fun riff to go on.
Yeah.
I love that original movie. I did, a piece for this show on that original movie, the original Death Race 2000. It's such a classic, bad movie. It's so bad that it's so good.
So the idea for this drawing is going to be a car with a bunch of, machine gunnery on it. And then a beautiful, naked, big titty woman surfing on the car, about to jump off at high speed.
Nice.
That's cool.
Well, that totally fulfills our need for speed. Yes. I like it. All right.
So, going to be doing speed at the same time, or?
Well,
I mean, you would have to be, right, to want to jump off a car at full speed.
Yeah. Well, that could be the thing, though. In my Zero universe, they have this drug. It's called the juice. And when they were working as construction workers, they all got hooked on it, so the corporation could save money because it would make them work longer hours and take unnecessary risks. And now they're old and they need this juice, right? So a lot of the odd jobs and heists they pull off is just to get money for the juice. But there could be something like that in a story with these dinosaurs there, where like these people, whoever they are, the women, maybe they're in this situation partly against their will, but they have this need to have a certain adrenaline, and it keeps them alive, so they have to put themselves in danger to hit that fix or something. You know what I mean? I think there's stories like that, kind of like The Running Man, except instead of like fighting for your life, you're fighting to get some kind of fix that you need. So yeah, you could, however you spin the tale, it could definitely be done.
Oh yeah.
All right, so let's talk about it. Joe, you are. I was telling Dillard that I bought the adolescent radioactive black belt hamsters off the rack in 1986. I was 11 years old, and Dillard's like, I was 2 in 1986. So the fun thing about this community is like we can all represent different generations, different slants, but we all are inspired by a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah, I was born. Eventually.
So what were some of your first impulses to want to be, a person who draws fantastic situations? That's what I like about my show is like, you can't like be mad at someone when you're sitting around drawing explosions and lasers,
Yeah.
This is what we got into it for, didn't we? Like the idea that you can sit around like drawing like ships blowing up and lasers and robots, like that's what it's all about, man. So what were some of your early influences to want to do something like this?
It's weird because not a lot of it was from my early days because my family was like super Catholic and like
Okay.
restrictive. So I was like, I was sneaking around whatever I could, and whatever
I
you're
see.
sneaking around, you never really get what you're really wanting to find. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You can't get immersed in it enough, I think.
Yeah, you're just like and so maybe that helped with like admiring the art.
Yeah.
At first. So yeah, I think the drive really came from later on when I was in college, and just getting into that and having my first drawing classes I went for computer animation. So within that kind of program, they have you draw, in your basic like figure drawing classes and stuff. So that was the first time I was like, oh, I got a natural thing for this. Not really good, but just enough where I was like, okay, my shitty drawings are kind of better than this other person's shitty drawings. That's it. So from there, I just wanted to get good at it. And for a long time, I was nowhere close to good. And you just keep doing it. And part of it's like a delusion that maybe one day you will get good. That's my background as far as like starting to draw. I'd say like I've been drawing seriously, like hard, hours a day, and obviously making Star Circuit is a different thing too, because it's like an overdrive, but probably for 8 years, I'd say, like really drawing. So that's, for most people, that's kind of not too many to build something up. But yeah, that's my background with that, because Star Circuit is probably, it's like 2017 was when I first had the idea, and then started doing small designs and from that point. But then it ramped up to like drawing it all the time, and
And how many issues do you have the story kind of mapped out in your mind?
So it's somewhat mapped out on paper too, but I count it as a mini series, because if I was going to do another volume of it, it would be it'd probably be like some sort of spin-off or just like a different version. But yeah, I would say like 6 to 8 chapters, which I'm thinking it's going to be around 300 pages in total.
Yeah. And it's funny how you think about page length, because there's like manga thinking about pages, and then there's like DC Marvel thinking about pages, right? What's a page? It's not always the same depending on what storytelling mode you're in, right?
Right.
So are you thinking of it like a trade paperback at Marvel DC, 2 trade paperbacks at Marvel DC, or I mean,
it's weird because I made this book with the pitch in mind rather than the crowdfund in mind, and that's why my first entry here is only, I think, maybe a blessing, but it's only 32 pages. And I thought that was like just a happy medium between the two. So yeah, I think my favorite length would probably be somewhere around like 3 chapters worth. So maybe the 78. What's the 70 number?
Okay.
Yeah, somewhere in there would be so the next book I release will probably be that number. So it'll be maybe chapters 2, 3, and 4 combined into my next crowdfund to just get things more in bulk and let people binge it a little bit.
Cool. Yeah, and how about you? How many?
I just heard my camera's frozen.
Is that me? Is that you?
No, my camera's frozen.
Is it you? Okay. See, I'm the host. You have to tell me these things. Like, I don't even know if we have any. I'm
gonna jump in and out real quick.
Yes, you can unfreeze it. That's fine. So, and how about you, Dillard? What, the Buckler is going to be an ongoing saga, or is it going to have a definitive ending at some point?
It's going to have 3 main books in the graphic novel portion of it, and then it's going to have 1 very long book, and that is the end.
Oh, okay.
So 4 in total for the main story. There's also a bunch of side stories. Like, for instance, I'm working on a book right now that goes along with the Buckler because we reached that stretch goal of 10K.
Yeah.
and that's going to be called the Temple of Polar Twilight, and that's kind of taking there's a in the beginning of the Buckler, right? Well, I'm on my. I can show this real quick.
Ooh. Exclusive content.
Spoilers.
So in the beginning of the story, it starts off here, and this is the Buckler. He's chasing down Todd Harrington. Let me get this thing loaded up. There it is.
Okay.
So this is like the first page, right? This is not like the main story. This is kind of like the tail end of an adventure from the previous adventure he was on.
Yep.
And he's chasing down this guy, Harrington. He says, "You can't run forever, Harrington. You're old and weak and a bastard." And I'm like, goddamn Buckler, and I'm just warming up. So he's chasing him down. And the thing is, people say, well, what happened beforehand, right? So it's not important, but they want to know what happened beforehand. So I'm like, okay. So the Temple of Polar Twilight is what happened beforehand.
It's the Harrington adventure.
Right. And I had this story in my head. I just was never going to do it.
Yeah, you didn't think you were actually going to write it.
Yeah, but I was like, okay, well, whatever. And when I hit that stretch goal, like, okay, I got to write this thing. So I wrote it. And then as soon as the campaign ended, I started drawing it. And it's all done. It's not all done, but I need to do lettering. But it's all 28 pages are drawn and colored.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And that's a separate book that's coming along with, if you backed at the physical level for the Buckler, you get that book as well.
Awesome. Well, I've got something like that too. I've got an Ashcan that I'm working on with Apex Comics, and he may come in around 12:30. He's on Central Time, and he's coming up from work. But we had this idea we were kicking around, and I was like, well, let's just do it. Let's make the Ashcan available for free to everybody who backs before we cross 1K. Create some incentive to get those early backers. And now that I wrote that script, I'm like, oh, this is a good script, and it's short. It's short and it's punchy, So I'm excited for that. I might even do once it's on the stream with us, I might do some dramatic readings from that script, you guys.
Oh, nice.
I'll act out all the characters. But because he's in Texas and we don't talk in person very much, so it'd be fun for me to wrap some of the script ideas to him because I'm excited about it. It's a little mini story that plays into their personalities really, really well, I think. It uses a combination of humor and suspense and then a few like zings where you as a reader are like, oh, dang, like messing with the reader a little bit. Again, using the what's true and what's false equation of the unreliable narrator. It's very, very fun to do.
Nice.
So we'll see. And Brett, his name is Brett Cantrell. He's from Texas. He is just a really interesting inker. As soon as I saw his inks, I was like, "Ooh, I need to work with this guy." He's everything is pen, and it just it has the sort of linear quality of Gil Kane, but it's also like things are stylized in a way that's just so I don't know. It's like sort of like almost a late Silver Age, Bronze Age stylings, and just great comic book art in the sense of comic book art, So for this little Ashcan, I think his style is going to just be fantastic. So it's fun to get these little extra stories, and then all of a sudden in the campaign, you're like, oh, I get to tell that story. That's nice, So I got my own.
The thing was, I wasn't ever planning on doing that, but then it kind of gave me an idea, which was like every campaign that I do, because it's going to be 3 main books.
Yep.
Why not just have an additional book going along with it? Because I'm drawing it in a very quick and dirty style, like like the Bruce Timm Batman the Animated Series style.
Oh, cool.
So I'm doing it like that, and it goes by pretty quick. It's not that hard to get that done pretty quickly. But the main books themselves they're really heavily rendered, so they're going to take me a while.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. All right, I'm going to hold my little piece up to the camera. This is just my little warm-up piece of Bubblegum Crisis. I don't know, it's not very good yet, but it's coming along. It's coming along.
Nice.
And I'm going to do a little more on her armor, and then I'm going to switch. My other piece I want to scribble on tonight is going to be doing Knight Rider as an anime and making Michael Knight, a 16-year-old kid, and make Kit a transformer. And so like Kit always has to get him out of trouble, and he's like impulsive, and I think it could be a really good reboot, actually. It would sell well in Germany. I lived in Germany when I was a kid, and when I was a kid, it was 1982. And so I lived in Germany in 1982. And, there's a cliche that people in Germany really love David Hasselhoff. I don't know if you know that, but it's 100% 100% the truth.
It's the truth?
Oh my God, yes. They loved David Hasselhoff back then. Like,
Wow.
even as a kid, I was like, whoa, these people love Knight Rider. Dang. They were way into Knight Rider. So, and then later in life, in the 90s, it became kind of a cliche, like, oh, people in Germany love the Hoff. And I was like, no, I've seen it. It's real. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's something like even though I don't know it, I feel like I would guess that just because like I feel like who doesn't like Hasselhoff? But
oh yeah, he's got so much braggadocio, so much braggadocio.
Yeah.
All right, you guys hold down the fort a little bit, and I shall be right back.
Cool.
All
Where
right.
are you at with your campaign, Dillard?
The campaign is over. It's in demand right now while I'm finishing up the book.
Nice. You gonna leave it up like that for?
Yeah, I might leave it up. I don't know, indefinitely after I fulfill.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not
how
sure.
how much is it to keep it up per month over there on Indiegogo? I think they charge you a month, right? Per month.
I think so. I haven't gotten into it yet, though.
Okay.
I don't have any information for you about that.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm kind of planning ahead, seeing if that's going to be useful or not. But
you're already up on me because I don't do that.
Oh, well, I try to like stay up on it, but we'll see.
All right, I'm back.
Let's see. I'm trying to figure out. My first pose I did was because I'm doing Chitara, but I was like, first pose wasn't speedy enough.
Yeah,
It wasn't speedy enough.
No, like, well, I mean, I didn't have her running. She was just like standing there. I was like, oh, she's got to be running.
Good. That's your. It's like a Mustang with a gun on it, right?
Yeah. It's gonna have another gun on the above the blower here too, and then probably one behind the door. I don't know, maybe some sort of just a canister that you can put like a grenade launcher.
Nice.
You might not need the dinosaurs. Girls.
That's the selling point, though.
No, girls and custom cars and guns. You've already got a lot of selling points right there.
Yeah, but it's gonna be jungle girls. See, these are all like. Remember those girls that came out? What did they used to be called? Not Danger Girls. What were they called? I forget. But there was this group of girls that came out, and they were all like kind of grungy looking, but all half naked. And
it's like Suicide Girls.
Yeah, Suicide Girls. There you go. Them. That's what this kind of is, right? They're like Suicide Girls, but kind of like with like 50s flair. Because all of their cars are going to be like classic cars from the 60s.
I'm trying to get
50s.
Joe. I'm trying to make your screen the major screen, and I just don't seem to be able to have the brains. Here we go.
Let me go to my camera again and see if I can focus, because that's the only problem here. I was trying to get it to focus, but I couldn't tell if it was. Let's give it a shot.
Yeah, I think a show like this is fun because you post a drawing, and even if the drawing is just funny, then it's going to get that engagement, and then people are going to, you know what I mean? So having a drawing show where you actually produce something live, I think that's good for engagement, because people don't mind if it's funny or a little bit whimsical,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm having trouble seeing the contrast, but we believe.
I'm trying to get it closer. You want contrast? Let's do that. Brightness down, contrast up. Seeing any more? Trying to see. Maybe it's not updating. I don't think it's updating. Let me turn my cam off.
Hanging up a lot. All right.
Yeah, I don't know why. Let me turn it off and on again. Maybe that'll work.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Yeah, I'm usually on my iPad.
Yeah, I was going to ask you in a second what kind of pens you like to draw with.
So I rarely use pen. So right now, this is where I'm at with her. Trying to find the lighting, and so she's kind of like mid-run with the 1 foot out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I see.
Gonna see. Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be good.
But what were you asking? I'm sorry.
I was just talking I was going to just unrelated know what kind of pen you use, but you're mostly on the iPad with a. Apple pen?
No, actually not. I'm mostly
What do you
traditional,
draw?
but I
Oh,
just
okay.
use pencil. I don't ink.
You don't ink.
Yeah,
Ah.
I don't ink.
But so when you color, you just color it on your pencils?
No, I do go back to digital for colors.
And then do grayscales and darks with that?
Yeah, I don't even do grayscales. Well, Star Circuit's all two-tone, so
Mhm.
I'll do like a two-tone, shadow layer,
Yep.
but not a whole lot of building up of anything. Just let it be.
Yeah, that's a little bit like my style too. So yeah, I can totally relate to that. So yeah, that's awesome. Yes, I mean, I don't know if you saw EVS's. He posted some things from the Wrecked Planet, and he had this one of Heather, and her face was all covered with with lines.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I'm like, dude, that's my style, bro. Leaving the lines on people's faces. I thought that wasn't hip anymore. So I was actually really glad to see that. When like you leave those marks on people.
Mm-hmm.
You let it actually look like a drawing. It doesn't have to look like all of airbrush blended out.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's a lot of different techniques to get that going, but that's one of the reasons why I kept my pencils traditional, because I wanted to get that grit. I don't erase it away in the computer, and I just leave it be awesome and gritty.
Yeah, I do the same thing. It's totally fun,
Yeah.
You can play with opacity and like dial it up, dial it down, find that sweet spot where you have the grit you want.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, I always on this program I always talk about Sienkiewicz and how influential he was on my style. Not that I have a style, but I do, but I'm nobody. Nobody knows me yet. But and his stuff was just all sorts of scratches and scrapes and tears, and it's just, oh man, so much texture. So I love all that stuff. I love to see that the paper has all this rough edges, and to me that gives it dimension. And when everything is perfectly rendered and airbrushed, it's just like, oh, it looks nice, and then every page looks like that. After a while, I just kind of lose it. I don't have anything to grab onto.
For sure.
So I like some rough. I like it rough in the art, in the line department, and also color. Even in color, I like to do rhythmic coloring. Sometimes I'm coloring and I just leave like a whole run of brush strokes that diagonally go across the surface, and I just leave it. And I'm like, that looks dope. That's what I want it to look like, because then your eye has got this whole new rhythm. You've got the rhythm of the lines, but you've also got the rhythm of the colors. And then when they go against each other in a cool way, it just dances. So yeah, I love to play with all that stuff and leave the little roughness in there. So yeah, what about your style though? I think the Star Circuit style it's really unique. I think people can draw a figure and people can draw a face, and you can sort of see where they're coming from influence wise. But yours, it definitely evokes anime in a great way, but it isn't that. It's your own thing. But do you have any other style points where you think you picked up your style, or?
It's interesting because I never really tried to keep it one thing, and I ended up with Star Circuit just out of curiosity, really. And that style is just one of the things I like to do. Like my new book, this in between book. While I'm campaigning, I'm drawing another book called Left Hand Free, which is a little bit more young adult, so it's a little cleaner. But I'm doing some unique things with two tones, actually. But we'll see how that goes. My point being, my Star Circuit style just ended up fitting the book rather than the other way around. It's not my thing. You know what I mean? It just became my thing.
Needs,
yeah.
That makes total sense. Yeah, my next book that I'm going to do in between is set in a Paleolithic caveman world. So it's sort of like earlier than Conan, but so I guess you would call it a hunter-gatherer. So it's in a hunter-gatherer world. And I'm working with an artist from Mexico, Carlos Rodriguez, and his inks are insane. They look like they're carved in wood. And so it really, really suits the style. But yeah, it won't look anything like Tales of Zero. So yeah, every book's got to have its own look, its own universe. That totally makes sense.
For sure. I'm not even against like if you do have a style that is persistent through all your books, because it's one of those things, like if you like Joe Mad, and read every one of his books because they're pretty similar. Speaking of, Joe Mad is like one of the pioneers. I'd say I'm like some sort of great grandchild of Joe Mad's kind of.
That's cool.
You know what I mean? Like I never studied him specifically except for the last month because I've just been looking into his work. But he was the first that really took the two together. He's just taking different things than I am. I'm taking more of the. I take a little bit of proportions, but mostly just the animation feel of anime. Just like the simplicity and combining that with the grit and some of the over detailed backgrounds and stuff. So.
Yeah, backgrounds are. I mean, you can live and die on your backgrounds. I think that's something that people can either sort of work with, or it's just totally defeating.
Yeah, I think that's also. I was an environment concept artist for games for a while, so my backgrounds are very thought out. In fact, I could almost be like an architect in some other world.
Well, that's cool
because I do enjoy doing them.
Well, Zaid, Nathaniel, right? He's been your buddy for a long time.
Yeah,
and he's in the video game world. So, and his environments. Oh my gosh, you video game people, insane. When I look at his work, I just can't believe how many planes there are. It just goes on and on. There's like 5 planes of depth. Then you keep looking, and there's 7 more planes behind that.
Yeah, for sure.
In comic books, you're lucky to get 3. You're lucky to get the artist actually gave a damn to give you a midground, foreground, and background, and give them all their own sort of world that unites into a common world. When you see an artist master that in traditional comics, it's impressive. But I mean, what you game designer people, it's like, whoa.
Yeah. Sometimes it's on another level too, because the game people like really have to think it through. It's not like on a superficial level, and that's what really makes. If you know how to do backgrounds or you know how to do anything, you know it at a deep level, and that's the difference. Like I'd say, if you want to make a good book, you want to draw well, the difference is to look into it deeper. Like if you're trying to draw good faces, learn the muscles of it, or you know what I mean. Like just look a little deeper. If you're trying to do better backgrounds, and you're looking at doing a city or whatever, go really look at some cities for a while. And you're just going to end up with a better look. So again, I'm changing my pose. So Zaid and me do sketch battles once in a while.
Okay.
And the one live one we did, he beat me horribly because I'm too finicky on poses. Like I'll restart a million times. And so he definitely beats me on speed. So I feel like
well, this is the need for speed, though.
For sure, I know, and that's the problem.
That's the irony. Yep.
The irony of Star Circuit is that it was made really slowly.
Really slowly, of course. I think everybody can see that, though. It's got a ton of depth, and I love your color palettes too. My people. I'm a writer number one, a colorist too, and an artist for fun. I just draw for fun. But I really look when I see people whose color palette stands out immediately. I love that.
So I appreciate it because it's something that actually I didn't think about until I started having to promote the book. But it is something that I specifically took from Sid Mead, if you know who he is.
I know who Sid Mead is, sure.
So yeah, he's definitely one of the bigger inspirations I have. And I haven't taken anything from him except, most of his color palettes, just like no matter what it's a weird pick,
That's totally fair because, a color palette is totally influential, but no one's going to be like, oh yeah, totally Sid Mead. But no one else will know.
Yeah, and even if you're an artist, you're not going to be like it's not really the palette either. It's more just and many artists do this. That's why it's hard to pinpoint. But for the most part, you can figure this out through many different avenues. But the bold colors, the the strong language of what color can do. Like I really wanted Star Circuit to be a black and white book. It just didn't work. It just is impossible as far as I was concerned, like I couldn't get to work. I couldn't get.
Yeah, we're gonna do the opposite in Tales. We're gonna have Brett's cover be the cover to a black and white edition. So I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna go backwards to black and white because as I was doing additional layers of grayscale, I started to like it. I was like, oh, you know what? This looks cool in black and white. Wait a minute, because I've been coloring it so long.
Right.
It never occurred to me to really step back and envision it, but in black and white, and I actually started to really love it. So we're gonna do a little. It's gonna be a limited. It's not for everybody, but I thought a few people would like to see it. And so we made it a little more expensive because we're not going to make very many of them.
Right.
But his cover is going to be cool. His cover is super pulp 50s, horror movie type cover, and it's going to suit the black and white. It's like, Zach said once about the first Iron Sights. He said, I want this comic to feel like something you found in a Tijuana bathroom. So when people he wanted it to feel like dingy and kind of used.
Right.
And I feel that way a little bit about Tales of Zero. I kind of want this comic to feel like you actually found it in the wreckage of the mining colony on Zeta 3. It itself should feel aged and kind of beat up and kind of like it's been through stuff. So, yeah, I think the black and white extra pulp edition will have that in spades, really leave it looking like it's an artifact of a time and place.
Yeah, I think that's a cool approach. Anytime you're adding depth in whatever way, it's definitely going to help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this is so cool. I'm really excited for you clearing 10K. I mean, that kind of like bodes really well for your next thing. And you say your next thing is kind of YA, and it's called what? Left
hand free. It's
you want to give us any tease on that, or?
Yeah, I can give you a tease. Let me share a screen. I'll give you. I did all the character designs already, so it's definitely a different thing than I normally would do, I think, but it's not something that it's weird because I'm not against showing about it, but it's the first time I've really done a book that I think I like, but I didn't write it myself.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So let's see.
Can you share them? Is there something I'm not doing?
No, I haven't found this folder yet.
All right.
Dude, Dillard's rolling over there, though.
I know. He's got his Mustang. Oh, the hair is. Oh, yeah. You see, I don't know. What about this, Dillard? What if these jungle girls? Here, I'm working on you. We're in the writers' room, okay?
Okay.
The government has been cloning dinosaurs, to fight communists or whatever.
Oh, those goddamn government again.
Yeah. And then the dinosaurs get out of control. So who are you going to call? You've got to call the jungle girls, right? So the jungle girls have the unique skills to go in there and whoop ass on those dinosaurs. Yeah?
That's perfect.
Yeah. They had that unique skills. And so the people the jungle girls, you can't trust them. They're our only hope. And then they go in there and well, we need equipment. And then they put down the blueprints and it's a Mustang with a Gatling gun on it. And I mean, yeah, exactly. It's awesome. It's like, Mad Max meets this. Oh yeah. I think I've given you a good concept here.
I think it works.
I love it. All you need is a reason
because they have different looks. These jungle girls, they're not the jungle girls are the ones that kick ass on the dinos.
Right, exactly.
These suicide girls here that kick ass in the cars.
Oh, I see. And the two teams. Okay, right.
They're two different factions. You see,
maybe the two different factions are from the same genetic experiment. So there were two batches of clones, right? And then one was sold to one paramilitary, and one was sold to the other. And so one nation built the jungle girls, and the other nation built the suicide girls, and then they have to duke it out.
Here's something that I had in my head. I really want these jungle girls that ride dinos to be from Australia.
Oh, wow. There you go.
There are no jungles in Australia.
But but that's not true. That's not true. You just have to go back to the Cretaceous. You see, there's no jungles in Australia now.
Well, if I make this thing in the future, in the far-flung future,
there you go.
Who knows what kind of biome?
Joe, is there a screen you're trying to share with me right now that I don't see, or let me see?
No, there is a screen. Yes, so you should look around.
All right, so we're going to see a little bit about. Tell me one more time. Left.
Yeah, this is left hand free. It's the first book that I think I do like it a lot, and I didn't write it. So you just normal work for hire artist thing here.
Okay.
But yeah, so like I said, it's a young adult kind of book. I think that's a market that indie books don't hit super well.
Yep. Would you call it slice of life?
No. It's the best way it's like a dystopian.
Okay.
It's a dystopian Avatar, like
Okay.
Airbender style thing.
Got it. Okay. So not slice of life. It still has magical fantasy elements.
Right. So
Okay.
the novelty with the story, I think, is that instead of just you being able to call up magic or whatever from the earth or the wind or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
you need two people to pull it off. Like you need to synchronize with another person, kind of Pacific Rim style, but not in a mech.
Yeah. Drift compatible. Yeah.
Right. You got to be compatible, and you got to. It's a martial arts thing where you have to be physically in line.
Cool. That's great.
But yeah, these are the two brothers that I assume are going to be like syncing up together because they're brothers, and or maybe not. This guy seems like, and I drew this one to be a little bit like the brother that might turn bad. I gave him a little bit of a darker palette, gave him darker eyes.
Yeah.
I think I could see him turning into something more of the adversary, but there's like a few things I'm doing here though. You can see with the two tones, like cross hatching them, so I don't see that much. So that's something that's kind of even more of a mix. So I'm experimenting here a little bit with that. But yeah, that's pretty much what's I'm doing in between Star Circuit books. It's there.
Is that going to be a crowdfund?
I don't know. It's his first book too.
I don't know. Yeah. Okay. It's a work for hire. So you're not the marketing.
It's technically a little bit more than that. I think it's not on paper yet, so it's not really something I can say. But he's mentioned that I could get more than,
Yeah.
Which is fine with me. I'm not going to turn down royalties, but you don't usually get that offer from work for hire.
Yeah, it's a balance because sometimes an artist is better off just being like, pay me for the work. It was awesome, and that gets my name out there, and then they don't have to worry about being part of promotion or the campaign or anything. But then sometimes, maybe you want to kind of hang on and grow with it. If the IP grows, you want to stay with it. So,
well,
could be just do it either way, depending
on how. It's one of those things where I don't know if it's going to be. I can't tell if it's going to pan out to something really awesome or just cool.
Yeah. Well,
whereas if you write your own stories like we do, you can kind of tell. I mean, it might be an illusion because it's in your mind, but at the same time, you kind of tell that I know my story is going to pan out well or not.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I mean, you have to know, even to get this far, to put it in front of people, you've already kind of kicked the tires enough that you believe in it. Otherwise, why would you even reach this level? All right. Well, my bubblegum, I might not get to Michael Knight tonight because I got into the rendering on this bubblegum girl, but I'm happy with it. It actually came out so much better than I thought it was going to.
Nice.
It's going to be, it's going to be pretty good. Yeah. It's funny because we had a comment on a little thread that you and I were on, Joe. It was like about how like people who grew up watching anime on VHS in the 80s, that would definitely be me. And I find people of that generation, the Gen X anime, to be just like, they're a really funny bunch because now anime is so different, the cross appeal of it, the mass appeal of it. And I think it's wonderful. I think it's awesome that there's such a mass appeal for it. But it's funny how like back in our day, it was like if you could find it on VHS, you were like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And they used to have some of those things would be like you'd buy the VHS and it would just give you like 2 episodes and it was still $45.
Yeah, it's
you were just like, oh my God, someday I might even own 4. But today it's like everything's sort of streaming on demand or whatever. So when if you hit it, you can get into anything. All right, do we have another guest? I think maybe. Is this going to be Brent Cantrell coming in from Texas? I think so. Let me see if I can get you on board, sir. Hey, Brent, how are you?
All right.
How you doing?
Hey, man. What's up, brother?
Good to see you. You're live with Dillard Draw.
All right.
Joe Catapano, Star Search. You might want to turn your speaker down, I think so.
All right.
I've never actually held a Mac 10 in my hand. How big are they?
Well, I don't know.
I don't know, man.
I don't know about guns. I'm a hippie. I like
That's
to
not
hug
going to do
trees.
me any good for these girls. They love guns.
You know, I love to hug a tree. So. But yeah, well, but you know, women's bodies, it's different, right? Proportioning a firearm to a women's body is going to be a little different because the men that use guns in, you know, in fiction and fantasy are usually oversized men to begin with. You know, they're heroic proportion.
That's correct.
So you're going to need heroic proportion female to gun ratio. That's going to be a whole equation of its own. You know, you're going to have to work that one out. You're going to probably have to trial and error that. All right, let's see. Did we lose Brett? Is he coming back?
He's probably trying to figure out a sound, maybe.
All right, how are we doing now, Brett?
Are you okay?
All right, are we getting any echo from?
Me?
Yeah.
Am I echoing?
All right, not anymore. I think we got to the bottom of it.
Good.
Awesome.
Nice.
So we're talking about the buckler with Dillard, and we're talking about Star Circuit, which is cleared 10K. Talking about Tales of Zero, which someday soon is going to clear 1K.
Nice.
And man, I'm excited for that. You know?
Yeah, really.
Tales of Zero. Just getting where we've gotten so far to me is like a dream come true. You know?
I've been like promoting the hell out of it this past week, and it seems like it's paid off.
I'm good. You know, yeah. I mean, I appreciate that. I feel like I've got a sense of, you know, what I've done promo wise, and I can see the backer list. So usually, if there's an influx of new stuff, I can usually figure out how it happened. But yeah, I appreciate everybody who's been helping us promote. When you're an unknown quantity, it's like every little bit helps.
That's right, man.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is going to be a proving ground. You know, we got a story to tell.
Yeah, my little robot.
I know. This is great. Yeah, this story that we're doing, it's such a classic pulp story where the robots look like 50s robots, you know?
Yeah,
and
like
the judges look like Flash Gordon judges, you know? Basically the premise, I was thinking, Brett, sometimes I'm going to call you Apex because I think it's sometimes fun to just call people their dream name instead of their real name. But I was thinking about actually reading some excerpts from the script, you know?
Yeah.
Because I'm really proud of it. But I'll pitch it to you guys a little bit. This is the ash can that Apex and I are doing, and this is going to be free for all the backers until we reach 1K, and then it's going to be part Brett's perk. So if you get Brett's cover, you get the ash can free, and then we will just put it for a reasonable price. You can add it on. There's nobody. So you can still be able to get it, but you get it free if you act now while rates are low. But let me. Yeah, act now while rates are low. So this is the premise of it real quick, and then I might actually read some pages of it because I think it's a great script. But the premise of it is that on this planet, which we're calling Algol, there's these judges, right? And they're kind of the corrupt judges, the Flash Gordon, Ming the Merciless type judges. And they run everything, business, religion, and commerce, right? Business, religion, government, commerce. And so they tax everybody a ridiculous amount. And then they have their own little citadel where they have all their pleasure gardens and stuff. And when they take taxes, they have this scepter, the Scarlet Scepter. You know, it's a little pulp name. The name of the story is To Steal the Scarlet Scepter. So they have this Scarlet Scepter that when they're collecting taxes, they scan it over the loot that the people bring them. So if there's any counterfeit or if it doesn't add up to what the tax is, like they'll just kill the person on the spot, right? So it's like when you're paying your taxes, they wave the scepter over the gold, right? And it glows a certain thing to show it's legitimate or whatever. But it's like, so if you try to get away from paying your taxes, they use this scepter to kind of like intimidate people and then catch people who are trying to cheat on their taxes. So of course Zero says that I need that. You know, I need that for my collection. So the point is Zero's going to try to steal the scepter.
Awesome.
I love it.
This is like such a great setup,
man. That's great.
And of course, guess what?
Damn it.
Guess
Awesome
what?
idea.
Guess what, guys?
What?
It doesn't go very well.
What?
That's the point, you know, of the adventure is that things don't go to plan. Like in a sale, they have a plan, but no, it doesn't go to plan. So of course things go all wrong, and that's where the adventure is, you know.
Yeah. Oh,
so it's like a heist on one level, but it's also an escape because once the judges know they're stealing it, the whole place is looking for them, right? So they're trying to escape, and they're trying to get away with the loot. And then of course there's the robot guards, and there's like a way that you can defeat the robot guards, but it doesn't usually work. But Zero has to figure it out. A lot of stuff happens in a little bit of time in this little mini comic, but it's going to be super fun. So that's it. And I you know, I've got all the dialogue written, and I'm just what Brett, I've already sent you like the first 5 pages formatted, but formatting it into a comic script takes time, you know. I've got it all in my head. I've storyboarded it. I've got written all the dialogue, but just formatting it just takes time. So you'll probably have it all back at the end.
Yeah. I'm frozen. Damn it.
I mean, maybe it's my stream because other people are frozen too. Just leave and come back, and we'll see what we can do for you.
That's cool. Yeah, you know, there's a lot of symbolism in that story. When you think about it, the red scepter could symbolize China overtaking everything.
I hadn't thought of that, but it definitely is a kind of like authoritarian, you know, when you merge religion, government, and commerce, right, into one entity. That's kind of fascism. So it didn't have to be contemporary China in real life, but it definitely could symbolize the authoritarian state. Yeah, this is my own bubble crisis sort of fan art. Came out pretty good. I rendered the Jesus out of it. What I tend to do.
That's
nice.
But that's what you know. I get into these live streams just chatting, and then you look down an hour later and like, whoa, I really rendered the crap.
Becoming almost like Frege Jr.
Yeah, and not even, but here's the pencil. So I do a light pencil sketch, put it on the light box, and then get from there.
Wow.
All right, yeah. So let me see if I can. I'll do a little dramatic reading. How's your Suicide Girls going there, Dillard?
Well, I'm putting the dinosaur chasing them in the background.
Oh my god! I think you're gonna have fans for this when you're finally ready.
The dinosaur has miniguns mounted on either side of his head, but these dinosaurs they're basically zombies, right? They're just they're husks of their former selves. He doesn't have eardrums anymore, so to speak of. This brain box they have on him is completely taken over him. You know, and pieces of him occasionally fall off.
Yeah, reanimated dinosaurs, right?
Yeah, zombie dinosaurs, like cyborg zombie dinosaurs with lots of guns. Oh my god,
this is getting better. Cyborg zombie dinosaurs with jungle girls, suicide girls, and muscle cars.
And fully automatic gun.
You're hitting all the
assault weaponry, bro.
Yeah.
So I'm copping out and doing a portrait-ish kind of bust shot.
Yeah, it's okay. Okay.
Yeah, my energy levels are low after that RGE stream.
Yeah, exactly. You were on RGE, absolutely.
I just got work.
Hey, what up, Pope Raven? What up, Don Chin?
Oh, Don Chin.
Don Chin in the house.
Yeah. They can't even see my drawing. Doggone it.
Doggone it. Let me see if we can get your drawing. Where is your drawing? No, we want to see your ladies.
You want to see the beautiful, naked, big titty women riding dinosaurs and classic cars outfitted with machine guns.
How's that? Don Chin, great to see you. Oh, yeah. We're doing a lot here. So, Mr. Don Chin, what we're doing here is we're learning about a future Dillard IP, which is reanimated cyborg zombie dinosaurs piloted by jungle women battling muscle cars with machine guns attached, piloted by suicide girls. I don't know. Can't miss. They literally can't miss. I think once you hit zombie dinosaurs, you're already in the winning, right?
Right.
Then you
already.
These dinos, they're mutated. They're bigger than normal dinos.
Oh my gosh. This is good. This is really good.
She stands up. If you can see right here, she stands up and pilots this thing while standing.
That's fantastic. All right. And then Apex Comics out in Texas is showing some concept art for the new Ashcan. I'm about to do a dramatic reading from the script of the new Ashcan. And then we got Joe Catapano drawing Chitara, The Need for Speed. And then I just drew Bubblegum Crisis, Pris on her bike. And I was going to do the anime Knight Rider, but no way. I just don't have time right now. So
don't do it.
Everybody. Pope Raven, do the dinosaurs and girls? No, they don't. Pope Raven. This isn't like that bear book from the 70s, you know?
What is he asking?
I can't say it. It's a family show.
Oh.
You can read it in the chat. But I don't know if you remember that bear book from the 70s in Canada, but yeah, there was a bear book. So no, it's not like that. I mean, how do I know? It's Dillard's book. Maybe it is. It's
Yes, they do actually.
Oh, they do. I'll listen to the host. Listen to the guest. All right. No, that's not going to do it. I'm going to try a different way to read this. Let's try it. I know you're like,
the thing is, in this world, there's only one living man left. It's all just women. There's just one man left alive. His name is John.
Yeah, his name is John B.
John.
He's the genetic hope for humanity.
Yeah.
You ready? You guys ready for a dramatic reading?
Sure.
All right, here we go. Tales of Zero.
It's not going to be very dramatic because there's like an echo.
Oh yeah, you're right. We're getting a very echo.
Apex, could you mute yours for a second and we'll see if that's where the echo's coming from?
Mute my mic?
Yeah, just for a second. Let's see if that's where the echo's coming from. And then come on back when I'm done my dramatic reading. All right. Is that better? Have we got the echo figured out? I think we did. Okay, you ready?
Yep. Sounds great. I'm ready to hear something dramatic.
It's story time, kids. Tales of Zero side quest to steal a scarlet saber. Page 1, splash page. We see an exotic and luxurious courtyard with a fountain where pretty half-dressed maidens are splashing and playing. Sleazy old men dressed as judges in scarlet robes with their young and fit armed personal security are overseeing the fun. However, it is not fun. These women are slaves and used for their beauty by these corrupt government officials who are known as the Scarlet Circle. This is their pleasure garden and private inner sanctum where they live a life of decadence while taxing and oppressing the poor citizens of their planet. From off-panel, we hear the voice of Zero, who is trying to steal the scepter from this highly guarded citadel. He does not realize how loud his voice is or how near this peaceful scene he is. So Zero's voice is going to come from off-panel, and he goes, jackpot, come on, let's grab it and go. So he doesn't realize that, just by being loud right there, all the judges and everyone is going to start coming after him. Page 2. We see Zero and Asilo looking down a hallway. As the alarms begin to sound, they realize they've been detected in the middle of the theft. Zero is closer to camera. Asilo is holding the scepter, which is a golden rod with a trapezoidal head containing an oversized cut ruby. Sound effects, alarm. Zero shouts, Asilo, get moving, they know we're here. Panel 2, we see Asilo close to camera. Zero is already halfway down the hall running. Asilo says, run. He only speaks in like one-word sentences. Zero's like, yeah, I know. You keep a hold of the scepter. Panel 3, we see Zero running full speed down the hallway. He speaks directly to the reader in a calm, matter-of-fact tone, which does not match his desperate situation at all. So here we play with the fact that he's the storyteller. So then he looks right at the camera as he's running for his life and goes, so the planet Algol is ruled by a group of ceremonial judges known as the Scarlet Circle. Panel 4, a little closer, he's looking over his shoulder in fear for his life, but his speaking tone is still totally calm. They rule over all business, religion, and commerce with heavy taxes, capital punishment for minor offenses, Panel 5, we see Zero looking right to camera, now in his library. You see, so all of this is a story he's telling. He looks right to camera, nice folks. Page 3, in his library. Zero is calmly recounting this adventure from the safety of his study. Bookshelves and knickknacks are everywhere. He's writing the story down as he tells it and drinking copious amounts of the juice, which is his drink of choice. He's in his element as a drunken storyteller and smiles in recollection of this daring adventure. He's just brought a box down from the shelf. They collect taxes using a special scepter that glows in the presence of gems, novidium, gold, and other precious minerals. Panel 2, he shows the scepter, just taken from the box. I guess it helps keep people honest. We close up on what he's writing. He is writing the story that we are reading. Well, Syl and I thought we'd bust into their citadel and see if we could swipe it. It seems like a kind of handy gadget for a guy in my business. We return to the adventure. We see the younger Zero ducking around the corner, dodging laser blasts. One of them singes the corner of his coat. And as you can see, damn it, we go back into the story. We see young Zero headed down to the hall and towards a brightly lit archway that leads outdoor. He's looking back in half silhouette. Syl, stand behind me. I know where I'm. Page turn. Big dramatic page turn. Ready? Syl, stand behind me. I know where I'm. Page turn. Going. So then he looks up and we see a giant pullback shot where he is small in the frame. He's standing in an open courtyard next to the exit of this citadel, but next to the exit are two giant robot statues. Each of them has one arm that's a blaster, and each of the blasters is just fired, blowing up the ground right in front of him. Next to the two robots is a shabby-looking figure cloaked in rags with a broken-down straw hat covering his face. All we see of him are glints from his eyes and his teeth. We never learn his name, but we'll call him in the script Shab. Zero looks around. What is this? Shab says, oh, you're screwed. Did you try to steal something? Oh, man, the sentinels are locked onto you. Even if you get one shot off, the other one's going to blast you. Shab continues, oh, man, this guy last week, they had to scrape him off the wall. Zero, who are you? I'm nobody, just a poor guy from the slums. I work this stupid job to earn food scraps for my family, but I'm doing better than you because I'm behind their line of sight. But you, what a dope. Close up on Zero. He's so pissed he can't even speak. Close up on Shab. All we see are the glints of his eyes under the straw hat. Well, you know, just to mess with people, they did make one way you can escape through this gate, but it never works. It never works. Zero, deadly serious. Tell me. So how's that for a setup? Did you like my storytelling? That's pretty good, wasn't it?
You didn't cry.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the setup. Is that he's got to figure out how to get out of this situation, and he has this Shab guy, who just keeps trash talking him and telling him how screwed he is. Well, meanwhile, we're constantly cutting back to Ocello, who actually has the scepter, and he's trying to get out. So we follow both of their progress. Zero in a mental challenge, how to get through this gate while dealing with this guy who was heckling him at every turn, and then Ocello running for his life. And then Brett, you asked for pretty ladies in the story, so that's why I included the maidens in the fountain. And then right in the second to last page, Ocello is going to blow through that scene and rescue one of the maidens from the fountain and help her escape. So that's the setup. It's just a fun sort of like heist story, escaping the castle with some rogue adventurers, with some laughs and some laser battles. And that's it. So there you go.
Oh, yeah.
There's exclusive content.
Sweet. I like it.
Yeah, it's really literally just going to be so much fun. It's a really fun story where you get to put Zero through all these emotions. But meanwhile, you can always, at the end, he's telling you this story. So even when it's done, he's going to have the last word and tell you about it. And then you got to kind of look back and go, all right, which parts of it were real and which parts was he just embellishing.
Right.
So it's going to be fun. It'll be a nice compliment to the full story, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So there you go. It's storytelling.
How big is your main book?
It's 44 pages. And then we have like a 4-page silent epilogue. So it's like the story ends at page 44. But then it's almost like when they show the credits for a movie and then they show you stuff in still pictures. And then you go, oh, no, right? So after the story is done, you're going to turn 4 more pages and there's going to be reveals of what really happened, right? Or information that you didn't get that makes you realize. So Zero kind of finishes on page 44 and goes, and that's how it all happened, the end. But the reader turns 1 more page and you're like, wait a minute, he didn't mention that, So the last 4 pages sort of this epilogue, that just shows you the kind of deleted scenes of stuff that really did happen that you kind of glossed over that changes the way you understand the events of the story.
Oh, bless you, Dillard. Oh, thanks, guys.
I didn't know that was a sneeze.
Yeah, I thought that was you just cheering for the dino.
I mean, with the echo, it's tough to like really tell who's saying or where the sounds are coming from.
Yeah, it's true. Hey, Apex, do you have a pair of headphones or something you could use so we don't hear my voice coming back so much?
Yeah, maybe I'll look for some.
Yeah, I think that'd be helpful. All right. And then, we can talk to him a little bit in our last, oh my gosh, we're down to 5 minutes. I guess my story was longer than I thought, but Apex has a story that he's been writing. It's called Fembat.
Fembat?
Fembat, yep. And it's sort of a superhero who's a woman who's sort of in a bat costume-ish thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes place in like the swinging 60s. And it's just really fun. It's super campy and really hilarious. And his art style is just so perfect for the story he's telling. And he does all his own hand lettering too. So it's literally like every page has so much work and care into it. But the style is incredibly like stylized and sort of retro. So whenever he goes around to put that story in front of people, I think I'm gonna do the colors on it for him, because I have this thing about people whose inking style is instantly recognizable. It's like ink different. When you see somebody's ink, you're like, whoa, that's different. I don't even, whoa, that's different. For me, that's the most exciting thing. That's like finding a guitar player with a different strumming pattern. It's like, oh, this is a whole different look.
Oh, yeah,
I'm excited to maybe help boost him when he's ready to launch Fembat.
Nice.
And then he's helping me out with this ash can. But all right, so we're going to wrap up in 5 minutes. For those of you watching this on the reruns, for those of you in the chat right now, Pope or Don Chin, everybody definitely get out and back Star Circuit.
Oh, thank you.
It's rocking right now, but even if you watch this on the reruns, still needs your support. If you liked my storytelling and you want to hear more about Zero, the lovable rogue who's actually not that lovable, the scoundrel without the heart of gold, but every time he tells you one of his stories, you get sucked in and you want to go on that ride with him, and then at the end you're always like, damn it, oh damn, I fell for it again. I think we all had a friend like that growing up. Yeah. So Zero is that guy. He's like he gets you into the story and you want it to be true, and then in the end there's just enough hanging evidence that it wasn't the way he said it at all. So
real quick, what are your thoughts on the film Big Fish?
I liked it a lot.
Big Fish.
I liked it.
That's the is that Robert Zemeckis?
Well, it's Tim Burton, right?
No, Tim Burton. You're right.
So I feel like Tim Burton has a rhythm. He makes a good movie, a pretty good movie, a god awful terrible movie, and then repeats. It's like he really has a.
Yeah, it's true.
He really has a rhythm. Like he makes a great one, a very good one, something that's totally horrible, and then he starts over. I don't know. It could be that it's his contract, with Hollywood or whatever. So he has 2 or 3 projects, and then he just has to bang one out. I don't know, because there's some, but when he's good, he's so good. So I love Big Fish. You liked it, Dillard?
I loved it.
It was great. Yeah, me too. It was freaking great.
It's probably one of his best, right?
Yeah, it's really good.
Is that the one with Ewan McGregor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this big giant dude that's always walking with him.
Yeah, and then the funeral. Remember the funeral at the end?
Mm-hmm.
That's when it all hits.
Okay, yeah.
You remember that scene at the funeral where all the characters from all his stories are actually real? Oh yeah, it's so good.
Oh, okay, yeah,
So
yeah. It's been years since I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a while for me as well. Like trying to I remember it all once you say it, but
I mean, I feel like we've all aged like 20 years. Like the pandemic world is such a weird world.
Yeah.
Time doesn't move the same way.
It is.
Things that happened a year ago, they don't feel like. It doesn't feel like a real year happened. It feels like some weird time warp of a year happened. So
I think,
we're all
slowed
kind
down.
of in cryo sleep. Yeah. Or the opposite of cryo sleep.
It's like the whole world was slowed down last year.
Yeah, I think we're coming up, at least in my community where I live, on the 1 year anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was 1 year ago this weekend when they just shut everything down.
Yeah, it was March 8th, I think that's when it did that sort of thing. Yeah,
So up on an anniversary of
it's opened up quite a bit in Texas. The mask law is going to be lifted today.
Oh, wow. Well, Texas, you guys always have to do it your way.
Yeah, but except a lot of businesses and grocery stores are still going to wear masks until further notice.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's fine for people
safety, that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's fine for people to draw that line where they feel comfortable, I think. But, the effect on small businesses over the last year, that's been really hard. No doubt.
That's true, man.
That's been really hard. So a shout out to all those people.
So how's Boston? Are you guys closed down? Or are you still opening up or what?
It's been a mixed bag. People here take a lot of the precautions very seriously. And then they have these metrics. So they shut everything down, but then they open to phase 4, just this, phase 3, a little more, phase 2, a little more,
Right.
So I think we're at a phase 2 now. So like restaurants are open, stuff's open. Movie theaters are open. It's all small numbers though, nothing's operating at capacity.
Right.
But stuff is pretty open. And everyone does the mask thing and everything. It's pretty, compliance on that is pretty high. That's pretty high. But we have a lot of hospitals. That's the thing, in Greater Boston, there's so many hospitals. And, it could be even said that the first real crisis of the coronavirus happened here because we had I remember because it was a year ago in Greater Boston, there was some sort of conference on some topic. And then they found out that 3 people had it. And then by the end of the weekend, 70 people had it.
Holy crap.
That's what raised the big alarm, That's what raised the big alarm.
There's some, what's really weird about this corona thing. You hear all these rules about this social distancing, wearing a mask. The mainstream media never tells you to take your vitamin D or vitamin D3 because a lot of these cases come from people who have a deficiency in vitamin D. You take your vitamin D3, take your vitamin C, your zinc, your magnesium, and if possible, if you could find some hydroxychloroquine handy, you're good.
Handy. There's a guy in my neighborhood. He's got like an ice cream truck, and he rings the bell. Yeah. And then you come out, and he's handing out the HCQ.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. It's small business, It's all about
that'd be great.
Economics, supply and demand, right?
That's right.
I'm just kidding, but you should have your own supplements. You should have comics and your own supplements. Where you're just like.
That's right. Everyone should have a Tales of Zero as part of defense against COVID. So if you haven't bought one yet, please check out Tales of Zero Indiegogo. It's a marvelous book. Purchase my cover, you get the free ash can.
Absolutely. You ought to purchase his cover. You absolutely ought to. And wow, so look at this, Dillard. I think there's something wonderful is happening here. Don't you love what he's done here?
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
It is gonna be great.
That's good.
Sometimes one piece of promo art.
I'm jealous. That's awesome.
This could sell your whole campaign.
I hope
it could.
I mean,
so what book is that for?
Talking about just the most god awful things to draw. I mean, dinosaurs and mechs in the same book.
It's horrible. That's why it'll be so fun to read.
And all kinds of guns and firearms.
Have you guys checked out Cadillacs and Dinosaurs from like the late 80s, early 90s? Mark Schultz.
Yeah, I was just looking at that right now. It looks like a video game.
Oh, man. I love his art. This is so splendid.
But some of this stuff is super cool. I see this it looks like one of those Baja bugs jumping off a cliff and a dino's chasing it. It's pretty great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, Brett, you and I think, are a little older, so we go back to those days. I'm gonna take a picture of one of my copies of Boris the Bear and send it to you, John. You would love it. Boris the Bear was the funniest. It was
actually I have a copy of Boris the Bear.
Of course you do.
One of my
I bet you do.
Collections. Yeah.
Of course you do. If you're from a generation that when it was buying comics, Boris the Bear was it was just great. It was like a send up of whatever was popular, and then Boris the Bear was this little teddy bear who always had an Uzi and a sword, and he would just shoot up everything. It's so funny.
That's a great concept, man.
It was 1986 when it started, And it was just
Yeah,
a
I think
funny
so.
book where he would lampoon whatever was popular in comics, and have this bear come through the scene and just be really sarcastic. And oh man, it was funny. But that's the era that Don Chin is from too. So it's the humor. It's the same humor.
I think Cerebus was a little bit like that too.
Yep, Cerebus was like that too.
Yeah.
Yep. But I've got a copy of the Boris the Bear where he fights the Transformers.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a great one. And then I think his first episode he fought the Turtles, and then there was one where he fought G.I. Joe. Oh man, so funny! It was just so goofy and wacky. But those were fun times. Like I said last week on the stream that I think this year is the best year to be in indie comics since 1986. Because in 1986, like in the indie world, the Turtles had.
I agree with that.
Yeah, it broke through, and everybody thought I could be the next Turtle. So there was a flood of good indie stuff in '86. People put their best foot forward.
Exactly.
All of a sudden,
this feeling. A lot of these black and white comics, man.
Right, remember that? Remember how many black and white comics hit the market right that year? And a lot of them were really, really good. That. Yep, and that's when Don Chin, right?
They were. Some of them are just crap.
Yeah, some more crap.
Yeah, Don Chin had some really good stuff, man. Mm-hmm. I like the Sam Keith when he drew the issue 6 and 7 of the hamsters.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, the hamsters
he started, kind of launched Sam Keith's career. And
absolutely, he did.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, it's funny how things are all connected.
That's great.
All right. Well, I like to try to end my stream on time.
Connected John Chin.
8 minutes late. So you guys, well, let's wrap this up. Everybody show a little. I'm going to try to highlight everybody what you're working on. So right now, I think we're showing Dillard. And if I can figure out how to make your stream prominent, Joe, we'll try to do that.
Try. Yeah, I've got a Chitara in the works here. Oh, let's see if I can
angle it up so we can see. Oh, it's a lot of. Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah, try to get the hair in there now, but yeah.
That's going to be great.
That looks really
good. Nice.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Wow.
Fantastic. And then I'll show mine again. I just did Bubblegum Crisis. Just so funny because I'm an 80s anime. Oh, wait. That's the sketch I was going to do for Michael Knight. No, I didn't finish that. That's my sketch for Michael Knight. I'll have to finish that later. Where's my Bubblegum? There's Bubblegum. Right. Yeah, see, I do a pencil sketch first. But then I ink it. So this is Bubblegum. It came out way better than my sketch. Yeah, the Bubblegum, their helmets were so big, over their bodies. They had to But that was a little.
I just have a lot of hair.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then,
that's cool.
And then, here's the pencils on that, just in case anybody wants to see that. So first I do a loose pencil like that, and then ink over that on the light box. All right, and let's see. We've shown everything, and put everything up on Twitter when you feel like it. But we are. It's a good way just to get some extra eyes on things. People might grab it and see, oh, that's cool, Bubblegum Crisis. Let me click on that, and then they can be taken to Star Circuit, or they might see. And then Dillard, I think we've seen the birth of a legend right here tonight.
I know. I want to see more of this.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, whatever you end up calling it, it's gonna be big. This is gonna be big. It's gonna be a blockbuster.
It's gonna be huge.
It's gonna be huge.
Greatest, so big,
so huge.
The greatest thing ever. So huge.
So huge. Oh my God. You know what's life when you can't make fun of the way the president talks, right? I mean, we had it with George W. Bush. We had it with, what I mean? It's like you need that sort of that ability to talk about how the president talks. Yeah. It's just a way we relate.
By the way, speaking of the current president,
wait, this is no politics show, so
no. I have this book called American versus Mabo. Check it out on BarnesandNoble.com and Amazon.com. I did this like 4 or 5 years ago. Oh, and this character named Bo Jiden. Yes, my work. Okay.
Bo Jiden.
Yeah, check it out.
5 years ago. We'll check it out.
You can buy a digital copy for $3.99.
Oh, awesome. Hey, and let me ask you one thing before we go, Apex. You've self-published some of your mini comics of Fembat and other characters. Are those available anywhere?
Not yet. I gotta get a website going. So it's in the process.
Cool. Sometime down the road, when you want to go on that, I'll color that. I'm going to color that for you, and that'll be such a fun book. That'll be such a fun book.
Okay. Well, appreciate it, man. That's cool.
No problem. All right, guys, let's wrap this up. Thanks for being my guest, Joe Catapano, John Dillard Draws, Brett from Apex Comics. This has been There Will Be Ink. And we'll see you next Tuesday, same time, with another creator. And if you're seeing this broadcast, back Tales of Zero, back Star Circuit, back the Buckler. All right? All right, take care, you guys. Good night, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Peace.
Peace out.
Good night.